Hello, I hope you're having a great day. It feels like a beautiful day here in Iowa, Zone 5. Yesterday I did a video on my 5 favorite April and May early spring flowers, and today I thought I would follow up that video with my favorite June and July flowers, which is going to be very difficult because there are so many flowers. Almost all of the flowers are in June and July. So I'm not going, I already picked my favorite spring, and I'm not going to compete them against the June and July, I've decided, because I can have 10 favorite flowers maybe. So when we talk about June, I mean, this is in Iowa. June is kind of at the end of June is when everything really starts popping. You have almost every flower there is in June. We start June off with the same flowers that we had in May. We have the peonies, and we have the lupin, and we have the dame's rocket, and we have all the stuff we picked the last video up on. I'll throw that video up. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. So around the early parts of June, like on June 5th, I had like my first Snapdragons bloom. But you know, when they're first blooming, you're not getting the quantity. It's like you're getting, okay, here they go, they're starting, and they're a little shorter. It's the very beginning of the season for them. It's still cooler out than they like, but you're starting to get them. And then around the 7th, I start getting like my ageratum and my yarrow. But again, you're getting a few stems here and there. You don't have the whole row full of it. So I kind of find this part of the season the hardest part of the season to really make big bouquets, because you're starting to run out of peonies. You're starting to run out of your lilies, which I had a note to get more lilies and I didn't do it. And now I'm kicking myself for it. So I think I'm going to see if I can get some lilies, because that would really help this part of the early June when I start running out of flowers that I have in my cooler. I've used them all up. I've been going to farmers markets. I've started selling to my florists, and now there's like a little lull before the field just bursts open. But you start getting the Snapdragons. You start getting, like, I got a Lisianthus. I think I had one, you know, and then you have 2, and then you might have a few more the next day. So each week it keeps getting better, and you get more and more stuff. Like around the 8th, I think the pink cone flowers started coming in. And then around the 9th, I think I cut a few little dinky pieces of amaranth just to put in the bouquets to like add something to it. And around the 15th, I start getting a few zinnias here and there. So you've got that kind of 2 weeks where everything's kind of like starting, but you don't have like the bulk quantities. And I do need to get better at that. I need to fill that part of the season in. And I think someday when, you know, my 140 peonies actually bloom and I'm not just working off 6 peony plants that were already at the farm, I'll have peonies during that time. If I get more lilies in the ground, I'll have more lilies at that time. So I think as I grow the farm, I won't have that problem, but right now I do kind of have that problem in years 2 and 3, and I kind of struggle for those June flowers. But around like the 14th, I see like larkspur starts hitting, my hostas at home started hitting, so I had some greenery that I could put in that changed up the look of the bouquets I've been making so far, and it's starting to be a turning point. I'm getting more Snapdragons, I'm getting more ageratum, you know, and then like a few days later, the 17th, the 18th, I start getting my brown-eyed Susans, I start getting Rudbeckia. I think around the 17th, the Bells of Ireland starts popping, and then the bachelor buttons start popping, and then like around the 19th, you start getting some specks of Gomphrena. And then I did have a little bit of stock, columbine, like all of these things start popping, you know, that around the 20th of June. And, you know, you're getting more and more of the Snapdragons, the Lisianthus, the amaranth. And now, you know, I'm starting to feel like the bulk of things are starting to come in on the flower farm, which is just a great time of year. You've got all these beautiful flowers in bloom. You're starting to be able to make these huge lush bouquets of flowers, and it's just an exciting time. And then towards the end of June, when it's getting like really hot and you're getting ready to go into July, I think my first celosia bloomed on the 28th. I had blue sea holly, which is a really fun, whimsical filler. And then you go into July with your sunflowers starting to pop. So June is just the month where you almost have all of the flowers. I didn't have tulips anymore, obviously. They were done. My allium were pretty much done, except for the little dinky blue allium. Those were still blooming, so I still had little pops of blue from the allium. You know, you've got your larkspur, your cone flowers, your zinnias, like your cosmos. Like, you have all these beautiful things going into July, and they just keep getting better. Like, they keep getting bigger, you keep getting more quantities of them, and now the field is just bursting with flowers in July, and it is just so gorgeous and it's so exciting, but it's also so busy because, you know, now you've got all of your pictures for your social media and you're really advertising, like, look at all the flowers, and you're in your flower field, and you know, and people are excited. It's summer, they want to have flowers in their house, and it just becomes this really exciting time of the year. But it also becomes the time of the year where it's very difficult to pick out your 5 favorites. So like by July 15th, you have it all. I mean, I almost have it all. I still have, like, towards the end of July, my gladiolas really started popping, my lavender started popping, but like right there around July 15th, you have all the things, you have all the flowers. And I think since the gladiolas popped on around July 30th, I'm going to just throw them into the August bucket because then I don't have to pick amongst them, because those are a gorgeous, gorgeous flower. They do require a little bit more work here in Iowa. You have to dig them up every year, but it's not that big a deal. They're not like dahlias or anything. They store pretty easily and they clean up pretty fast. So now I get to pick between all of the beautiful things that are blooming all summer long here in Iowa in Zone 5. Renee, this was a difficult question you asked me. So, gosh, it's very difficult. I think I'm gonna sit here for 1 second and try to think about, what is it? My dogs are gonna be like, where'd you go, Mom? Oh, that is my brush pile that I'm adding to. I need to do something with that someday. That's part of the farm cleanup. This ditch is part of the farm cleanup. But back to my 5 favorite flowers. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to say zinnias. Zinnias, they're just, for the space that you put them in the colors and the beauty and the vase life and just the wow factor. I mean, they just give you so much production. You get so many flowers. I don't even charge as much for a zinnia because the space like a Lisianthus takes up and a space that a zinnia takes up, I mean, I feel like I get way more flowers off the zinnia plant. It is a dirty flower. It does kind of make the water stink. Those are kind of the downfall. So zinnias, I mean, just the production, the quantities, and they're a garden flower. So if you have a flower farm and people are looking for those locally grown flowers, like, I just think the zinnia definitely is one of the top ones. I mean, I think it's obvious probably from most of my videos that Lisianthus and Snapdragons are definitely in my top favorites. I kind of wanted to throw them into the fall 5 favorites because they are the last standing flowers on the farm, but they do start blooming. I am using them and I am loving them in June and July. So Lisianthus and Snapdragons definitely have to be in that list. The beautiful sunflower, I mean, everybody loves sunflowers. It's a huge hit. especially the different varieties of sunflowers, the plums, the reds. Those are just beautiful. So, you know, the sunflowers have to make the list. Gosh. The larkspur, like, I think it's really pretty to have purple. Purple is just a great flower to have. You know, larkspur needs to make the list. Asters were gorgeous. They need to make the list. Gomphrena needs to make the list. Amaranth is just this awesome, like, filler that just flows down, or you can pop it up, and it just adds an awesome textural element. It needs to make the list. I know last year ageratum was definitely in my top 5 because I just sold buckets and buckets of it as filler, and the purple color, it should make the list. Oh wait, I just went way over 5. Gomphrena, like the little like specks that you tuck in everywhere, and then you got the like pink coneflower, and you have all the colors of coneflowers. I haven't gotten a lot of colors. I have pink and white right now, but there's so many fun colors, and now they make the doubles that are gorgeous. Then you've got your Rudbeckia, which is just that bright yellow like pop of color that is so beautiful. You have your lavender. I'm going to put lavender into August. Baby's breath, awesome filler. I know a lot of florists don't like it, but it looks great with other flowers. Just the little light, delicate white against, you know, plopping it in between all your other flowers. It's a great filler. And your celosia, it starts popping at the end, and it's gorgeous. I'm gonna have to throw it over. I'm gonna have to throw it over to August because it's definitely one of my favorites. That is. So I definitely know, like, Lisianthus, Zinnias, Snapdragons. I love Cosmos, like the airy, whimsical, fun feel of Cosmos. Plus I used a ton of Cosmos foliage as greenery, so I just used so much of those too. But gosh, maybe I should just go by what makes me probably the most money, like the most sought after, since I am running a flower farm, and not go by the pure joy that the flowers bring me. I'd have to go with zinnias, sunflowers, snapdragons, Lisianthus, I don't know, delphinium, larkspur, cosmos. Oh, why? I probably would have to say cosmos, just because I do use my cosmos. I mean, I chop and chop and chop away at cosmos. But I also chop and chop away at amaranth. I don't know. So you kind of heard my opinion. You can hear how much I love all the flowers. I think I will throw cosmos in, and that is my final decision. They're very easy. You just throw the seeds in the ground and they grow, and you can just keep growing them if you want, but if you keep cutting them, you just keep getting more. I planted just 20-40 feet of them last year, and I almost felt overwhelmed. Like, some of them got away from me and went to seed. So I could probably plant less of them than I did and still get a lot of bang for my buck. The seeds are not that much, and they're so pretty and whimsical, and they're great for the pollinators. I mean, that could be another whole video, because the pollinators, like, they love the salvias, the lavender, like, you know, the pollinators, like, go to certain flowers at each part of the year too. So there's reasons to love them all, I guess. But in this video, did I even decide? I definitely know the Lisianthus, snapdragons, sunflowers, zinnias, and cosmos. That's gonna be my final answer. But the delphinium, the larkspur, the amaranth, like, they're all great too. The gomphrena, the asters, maybe I'll throw asters into the August, because honestly those come up really late in July here. And I know that a lot of people do dahlias, but my thing with dahlias, I think they would go into the fall, because they don't start blooming until like late July, August, and they don't have the best vase life that I've found. So I don't ever want to end my season on a flower that's not lasting. Like the Lisianthus might last 13 days, you know, so you fill this beautiful arrangement that somebody has and they're like, it's still on my table. That's an awesome feeling. And I feel like with the dahlias, they would be like, this is great, but I probably wouldn't get those private messages of, I still have this and it still looks great. And I think that is a great thing when you're a flower farmer. I think it does a lot for your name. And I just don't feel like the dahlias, well, I think they might be worth it someday. I think as a new flower farmer, the time and the commitment involved, and then the like vase life that's not that great, and it's the end of the season, like that's the time when, you know, you're kind of like shutting down and now you're not going to be ready until next year. You want people to have those good experiences with these long-lasting flowers. And I'm not putting down dahlias, they're gorgeous, I love them, but there is a grower pretty close to me. They're really good at it and they offer beautiful dahlias. And so if I have people ask me about dahlias, I actually do say, you know what, there is a farm about 30 minutes away from here and they have an awesome dahlia farm. So I feel like I can offer my customers an alternative, and like I'm not ready to dive into it yet, so I'm not gonna like stress myself out with that. But anyway, sorry that was long-winded. It's really hard to decide. I love all the flowers, I love all the pretty things. So I'm gonna say that's a wrap for my 5 favorite June and July flowers. And I am actually working with a florist over Valentine's Day. It is actually one of the people that I supply my flowers to wholesale. It's like a greenhouse slash flower shop, and they knew I wasn't like that busy, and they asked me if I'd be interested in coming and seeing like the life of a floral shop on Valentine's Day. And I said, yeah, I would love to do that. So I'm working for them tomorrow, Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday of next week. And I'm going to get a feel for what the Valentine's Day rush is like in a floral shop. So I think that'll be awesome. I probably won't be able to video it. I don't really even, I just don't even want to ask them. I don't think anyone there would want to be on camera. I might take pictures if I get a chance, but really I'm there to help them out and get a feel for it. And I don't want to like slow down and not be productive for them because I'm trying to like get pictures. But I'll update you on the experience, and I will try to put together an August, September, October favorite flowers list probably next week. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and the little slideshow of flowers, and I hope I see you in the next one. Have a great day. Hi, good girls. Are you good girls? Are you good girls? Yes, you're good girls. Are you good girls? Yeah, you good girls. Yeah, you are good girls. You're a good girl, Maggie. Yeah.